Hello, friends, and welcome back to another Sunday video. Each week in the markets, basically what I do on Sunday is I talk about trading setups for the week ahead, mostly in the currency market, but sometimes in the commodities like gold, and other times even in the indices markets as well. Talking about trade setups and ideas for the week ahead. Now, today we are going to be going over some of the hot topic currencies, things like the US dollar, of course, and the pound. We'll talk about some trade setups and ideas and some things to think about. Of course, we've definitely got to talk later on in the video about gold, which we will certainly discuss. I actually put a video out on Saturday about gold, so I encourage you to watch that if you haven't already. It's kind of a deep dive on gold, but we will be touching it in this video, of course, as well, talking about the recent price action, and we'll even start fresh on it, do some technical and fundamental analysis on some of these major pairs. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. The dollar is going to be our first topic here today, and the dollar has been incredibly strong. In fact, it's one of the best performing assets that I've been trading recently. I've been very bullish on the dollar, and it's been paying out very well. Now, I wish I could say that everything I ever touch is perfect, but it's not. And real traders know that. And real traders know that, every trader takes losses, and that's perfectly okay. But the idea though too is that as a good trader, or as an aspiring trader, for us to continue to try and be the best we can, we're looking for those big wins. We're looking for those big opportunities to really cash out in the markets. And I'm not talking about overnight riches or anything like that. I'm just talking about catching great trades that we've been, planning and executing on. So that's been the dollar for me recently. The last few months, I've really been very bullish on the dollar, and it's been paying out very nicely. On this 4-hour chart, you can see I've taken several trades, not necessarily on the DXY, but on some individual currency pairs, which we'll talk about. Now, before I jump into everything else in terms of individual currency pairs, I do want to make you guys aware that our Black Friday sale is ending soon, and now is the best chance. I'm telling you, if you've been meaning to join our Discord, if you've been on the sidelines but meaning to join, or you have an interest in joining, now's the chance to do it for 40% off using the code down below in the description. We're super excited about this. We're meeting new traders who are joining us on this new sale, which is awesome. We're looking for more serious traders who are serious about, not only realistic trading, but also realistic improvement, right? They're looking to really take their trading to a next level and willing to work on it. If that sounds like you, if you've been meaning to join our group, now is your chance to do so for 40% off. You get access to every trade alert that I send. So all those dollar trades that I've been taking recently, honestly, it's been kind of a nice time in the group, not going to lie, because things have been going really well. It's not all the time that it's going really well, though, so just full transparency. You get all the good and the bad, but with everything that I share, or the other traders that are in there who share their trades, we share full fundamental and technical breakdowns with the trades being shared. On top of that, you also get access to the coaching webinars throughout the week. We have 2 each week from my friend Ivan. He is a great experienced trader, been in the world of FX for I think 4 or 5 years. So been doing this stuff for quite some time, and an educator for at least a year or 2. Really great guy. And you can ask your questions there. You can also see all the trading strategies that we are using in PDF downloadable form. You can download my strategy and read all about it. And then also you get access to all of our MT4 trading tools and Forex robot, if you are interested in that stuff, of course. And then you also have the live chat room. So come join the community, come chat with the rest of the traders in there, and meet traders from around the world. It's really quite the group. And honestly, I tout it so much because it is something that we are very proud of. We've got a lot of people who make that group the group that it is. And of course, we are looking for new serious members to sort of join, but also to contribute to what we're putting together there. So without further ado, let's take a look at EURUSD. Here's an individual currency pair that I would like to talk about in reference to all this dollar concept. Now, I haven't really been catching too much on the short side when it comes to EURUSD, but we can take a look, for example, at some of this recent price action. Price has been really respecting pullback zones and selling off and continuing to sell and trend nicely. So this pair has been an absolutely great candidate if you've been a trend follower recently. Ever since we saw this big break under honestly, that was the yearly low, right? We put this yearly low in there on the 4-hour and the daily chart. Price came down, found support a little bit, but then bam, when we closed underneath that, things just seem to have gone down from there. And the trend trading setups have been beautiful. Now, I've not been trading euro dollar too much. I'll show you the pair in just a second that some of you guys probably already know that I've been trading very consistently, and things have been going really well on. We'll talk about that in a second. But first, the EURUSD. I think the pattern here just remains the same, right? Now we repeat the process. We have this big area of support where where we currently sit and towards where we ended the week. Now the question becomes, can we break lower? So for you watching the Euro USD and you're saying, well, I want to be short on this thing, where do I get in? Well, there's a couple ideas to think about. Of course, if we do get a retest of structure, you may get an opportunity to possibly look for opportunities up in this level. Please remember, by the way, that this is not me telling you to go do that with your money. I'm just sharing what my thoughts are in terms of the Euro USD. I do like the idea of possibly selling a retest of resistance. You have areas up here like 1.146. You've also got resistance here at 1.138. So a couple areas right there to think about on the Euro USD. Now, if you're looking for a bigger retracement, here's the 4-hour view. We can take a movement from the top down to the previous bottom. If that does form to be the low, you may get a retest of that 38.2%. That does possibly look attractive for, a continuation play if you're looking for that pullback first. Now, if you're more aggressive with your entries, if you're more looking for that break and continuation and maybe even a further meltdown on the Euro USD, watch for the breakout of this zone. If we break that level, there may be some really clean setups to just look for trend and continuation and not be too picky with it. More so just going with momentum, right? And in that case, maybe you're looking for something fairly short term, right? In this case, maybe risking like 50 pips to make 150. That's a short term swing trade. I would define that as. But then again, like I said, there's also that idea of a little bit more of a picky pullback, a little bit more of a patient one, if you will, with a similar concept. Honestly, that even might be more attractive in my view. It's just a little bit more of a pullback there, possibility of selling into that at a higher price, get that premium, and then looking for the overall trend to continue. But either ways, both scenarios look interesting to me, truthfully. So I'll keep an eye on the Euro USD. It is definitely one of the top ones on my watch list going into the week ahead. We'll take a look at the pound dollar here for a moment. Still not a pair that I've been trading too actively, though I still do like this one to the short side as well. Again, that dollar reigning supreme right now based on the Fed's monetary policy being so hawkish and the tapering process beginning. And then you've got the talks of rate hikes around the corner and when that will be, and things are looking optimistic. So, it's the dollar is very strong, and I think that it has a good fundamental backing to look for more downside on things like the pound dollar and the euro dollar. So, I think that the pound dollar is one that I would be less interested in personally than the Euro USD. But, using that regression trend that we've been playing around with on the channel for the last few days, we can see that you do sort of have price coming up to that upper limit. We just tagged that upper limit of the downward channel that we are seeing. And sure enough, we got a little bit of rejection there on Friday. So maybe seeing some more further downside. If you are more of like a breakout trader, you may look for something like this, like the breakout of that zone, right? You have this overall downward structure that we see here in this market, but then you had this counter trend. So we would define this little move as the counter trend, and then this massive move here to the downside as the trend, right? And what we often see is that the trend, the dominant trend, can outweigh those little counter trends that come along and try and turn things around. Now, not always, because eventually a counter trend can become a trend, and in fact, usually will eventually. We'll see if this does, but again, it's a counter trend until it proves otherwise. How would you prove otherwise? Probably a breakout to the upside next week, something like this. If you are bullish on the pound dollar, maybe you watch for that counter trend breakout, and then you look for opportunities to go long. But for me, as a short seller predominantly, I'd be looking for a break and retest concept of this. That could be interesting there for pound dollar on the short side. Now, of course, I do want to talk about the one that I've got to brag about a little bit. Here is my Aussie dollar trade set up recently. We'll zoom in so we can see it a little bit better. So I ended up getting short several times. Let me see if I can get my orders to show up. I'm gonna just change. Sometimes TradingView has like this little glitch where it doesn't show you the orders unless you change time frames. There it is. Okay, so you can see my orders there for my broker. So I've been trading this thing really, really honestly quite well recently. So I shorted around here, bought back around here, shorted, covered for just break even, I believe, shorted, made some money on that one, shorted now, and still holding on to this trade going into this week. So I've actually held this one over the weekend. So this is a trade. This is a real trade that I am personally in right now. Again, going off of that dollar strength idea, right? Because we are shorting the Aussie in this case and buying that US dollar. So I have 33,000 units short there, which is 0.33 lots. Yes, I know it's not huge, but as a swing trader, your moves are bigger. So your lot size tends to be smaller if you're going for those bigger moves. So again, as we broke lower, I have basically been following that stop loss. I took my stop loss. I went ahead and trailed it down to this point here. So you can see at the worst case of price reverses, I will be out of this trade for a profit. So again, sold up here, stop loss locked in. And again, this is a trade that I took inside of the VIP group. So every trade that I take is shared for members to see with full explanations and breakdowns. My goal is not just to, share trades in the form of a signal, but rather to share full breakdowns. So here's an example of what this looks like. So, when I say full breakdowns, I'm talking about the technical reasoning, right? The stop loss placement, how much I'm risking, as well as the fundamental reasoning. Why am I going long or short? What's the idea? What's the bigger picture, not just what the charts are and the lines are, right? Not just lines and candles for me. I'm looking a little bit more at what is fundamentally happening and what the trend macroeconomically kind of seems like. Now, I'm not a genius. I'm not a economist or anything like that. I just know there are some factors that the FX market tends to watch, which we've talked about on the channel, and I talk about very frequently inside of the VIP group. So if that's something of interest to you, again, join us, and that is part of the service that we offer. So it is there. It is down below in the description if you would like to join. So now let's take a look at gold here. We'll take a look at XAUUSD. Now, again, I put out the full video on my thoughts on gold on Saturday. So watch that video if you haven't already. But in terms of gold, let's start at the daily chart just really quick. So daily chart, big breakout here at 1830. That's the key spot that I'm watching personally right now. And in fact, we have pulled back even more so since I last filmed on this, which is exactly what I was talking about in my video there on Saturday, which was a possible retest of that 1830 level for a possible buy opportunity. Now, please remember, like I said, this is not me telling you to go do that. This is just my thoughts and opinions in the FX market. Now, I do like the idea, the risk to reward on gold for the idea of buying with a stop loss somewhere underneath structure there, right? Maybe somewhere around here with a small lot size and looking for, the trend to either continue and rally higher or to stop me out quickly for a small loss. So I do like that opportunity. I think that may present itself coming into this week. If we get a little bit more pullback on gold, I may be interested in picking some up. Now, of course, you've also got a couple levels to think about. Now, this is why I love this trade idea so much, is because let's just say as a theoretical concept here, you're going from this move here, right? Stop loss underneath structure. You're looking at a 3-to-1, right? With just a natural order of saying, okay, well, if it continues, right, a natural place for it to go would be a move back to 1908, 1900, 1910, somewhere in that region, right, where you had this previous sell-off that was pretty big. So a very natural order of things to go back to that level, in my view, and in fact, somewhere where I think that we very well could be headed next. Again, we might need to reload, might need to recharge a little bit, but that opportunity still seems fairly reasonable to me for an opportunity to go long. Now, if we go past that, if we just scroll out a little bit on the daily chart, you do have bigger levels in mind as well. Keep these levels in the back of your mind. If we do see a continued push on gold, you have opportunities to see price possibly make its way back up to 1950 and maybe even 2000/2050, right? Those previous high zones. And again, people might say that seems really, really far away, but gold, when it gets moving, you guys, I mean, look at this. In one movement, it went from 1673 all the way up to 2070. Now, that stuff doesn't happen very frequently, but it certainly can happen. And when it does, if you're on the right side of those trades, oh my goodness, they feel amazing. So be aware of them. And, those sort of opportunities usually start with something like this, where you get a big break, retests, and continuations. Doesn't mean that this is a guaranteed, oh, you're going to make so much money doing this. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, in general, levels that get broken out when you get these big momentum pushes, the big trends in the gold market tend to start like this. So I'm not going to get my hopes up, but I do like the risk reward, and I think it is worth a possible long at 1830 on the retest. So I'll be watching that. If I take that trade, of course, it will be shared inside of the group. along with any other trades that I take going into this week or the rest of the year. And again, that's pretty much everything I've got. I've got a shorter watch list this week just because I am headed out filming this. I've got some things to do today. But if you did enjoy this video, do me a big favor, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new for more content just like this each week. I share all sorts of news coverage and fundamental analysis, technical analysis, all sorts of good stuff. No Lambos, no BS, just real trading stuff. So if you like this stuff, then hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. And without further ado, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great rest.